Hey, what's up? Hope you're doing all right. So last week we made a track from a simple loop to a finished song, right? We did some light mixing, external effects, arrangement, creating beat parts, and I thought that it was done, but I was wrong. After tons of sleepless nights and some deep listening to the song outside of my studio space, I realized we still got some work to do. So today I'm gonna go over the notes I made for myself to finish that dang song. And I'm sure you'll be able to find these notes helpful for some music you might be working on. All right, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So if we look at my notes, you can see I wrote like claps at the beginning are a little loud, sidechain, a couple different things, right? A lot of this came from just listening to the track outside of my studio space where I wasn't expecting to hear something. I find that that's pretty important when I use my eyes more. I end up doing things that I think look right, but might not sound right. So when you're playing it back outside of your studio, right, the classic car test, go print style, you will hear things differently. So in this case, I did. First note here, claps at beginning a little loud, the perk sound around 11 seconds. I went ahead and used a right click up here in this little like ruler section to add a locator, and this is kind of how I found a decent way to add notes. I wish you can do like a comment bubble or something across the timeline. I don't think you can, not that I know of. I know you can use like MIDI clips and stuff too, but I just use these because it just gives me a little thing that I can look. Once I'm done, I can delete it or, you know, do whatever I want with it. So these percussion sounds right here. Right, if we look at those here, it's under perk. They're coming in at -18. Maybe I'll drop them down a little bit. And the other thing that they might be missing is a bit of room or atmosphere. They're really dry. I almost have this hesitancy to add a lot of reverb to my tracks because I used to add a ton and then I would go and play them in like some underground warehouse party and it would be washed out beyond belief. So you need to know where your tracks are most likely going to be played. I don't know. I'd like to believe people will play these at the warehouse, but maybe this could use a little bit of room, right? So we're just going to hit Command F. Go and add a little bit of a reverb, bring this back. I want to cut the lows out of this reverb here. And maybe I'll bring the highs up a little bit. Decay's a little long, I'll drop that down. That's cool. I'm gonna do 500. Bring our size down. Increase it a little bit. If you think I know exactly what these things are doing, I don't. Use this little arrow here will actually show you exactly what's going on, but I'm kind of, again, just using my ear for the most part, but it is important to understand some basics. Don't just go willy-nilly, right? But I think this sounds pretty good right here. Maybe I'll lower it even more. Maybe even more. That's cool. Watch, listen to it without it. That's what I'm talking about. Super subtle. And we lowered it down, right? Its volume is right under, let's go to -24. Awesome. That sounds good to me. Let's move on to the next note. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this, boom, cross that out. Sidechain the loop cloud loop a little. So watch, what comes in next is, wait, where does it come in? Oh, this is the loop cloud loop. But when the kick comes in, which is this little section here, watch, we'll go and look at this whole section. Highlight it, hit Z twice. This should basically zoom into that little section. Here it is with the kick. We'll bring the kick in. It's just kind of sitting on top, right? I wish it had a bit more of a glue to it all. I'm gonna go ahead and mute this crash for now. But same thing, I'm just gonna solo this, solo our kick, hit Command F and type in comp, C-O-M-P. It's gonna bring up compressor. This will allow me to just quickly drag it over here. Same thing, I can go ahead and sidechain this to the kick, or alternatively, I know I have a sidechain to the kick on this track here, which is the octa track. So I'm just gonna grab this, hold down Option, and drag it onto track 8, which is the loop cloud loop. Now, playing this back, let's make it super extreme. Right, we basically lose everything. We can bring it in a little bit. And again, you can use this as a visual aid if you want. But again, let's try and do some A-B. And with it. It's almost too much. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit on our ratio. Our ratio is how much it halves the volume, I'm thinking, past the threshold amount. Essentially, when the volume passes X amount, cut the volume down by this much, the ratio of how much it's going to cut the volume down comparatively to 1. 4 to 1, 2 to 1, 10 to 1, infinite to 1. If you turn this all the way up, I'm pretty sure it goes there. I don't know how to do the math on that. But essentially, our kick is going past a certain point, and that's lowering the volume on this loop to kind of help shape it a little bit more. And I don't want it that drastic, right? Maybe the attack can be pretty quick because I want it to be right on with the kick. I mean, 1 millisecond to 1.5 milliseconds, will we really hear that? Maybe not, but the release is one that we can really bring up. And this, adding more of a release will start giving you a bit more movement and almost like swing and shuffle. You're trying to find the breathing between the kicks, right? But a lot of times the default settings are pretty good. So now let's hear it with everything. Now it almost sounds like it's a little low, right? And this is gonna be here, loop cloud. I have a utility on here. Oh, but the gain is going crazy. And I don't really want to touch this too much. I don't like going past 0. It's like an arbitrary rule I give myself, but let's see what happens. I think that's cool. I'm down with that. Yeah, why not? Okay, on to the next one. Let's cross that out. Maybe some piano sound scattered during the first break. So this is heavily tied in with this. The main chords need more volume or texture, maybe sample rate reduction. These chords, I mentioned it in that video. The problem with these chords is that this is filter fully wide open. They're super soft, super subtle. There are some things that we can do to kind of get it gritty to try and bring some more texture out, right? We can do like an EQ8. This is the most like, you're gonna get laughed out of school for doing this, but it works if nobody notices, right? Like, see, there's some noise, there's some hiss in there. I'm just bringing up all the highs as I can. And if you're wondering how I did that quick movement, again, holding down Option, we'll switch the up and down on your trackpad or your mouse to the Q. And then when you let go of Option, it'll set it to the gain. And then left and right will stay frequency, except for when you do the Q. So this doesn't really work. That's not really what I'm aiming for when it comes to texture. But if we go to our audio effects and we go to drive and color, here there's saturator and redux. I'm gonna see what this sounds like before the compressor and after the filter. I learned this from the Digitact that I like sample rate reduction after the compressor. Is here, we can turn this down and get a little sizzle in there, right? This sounds a little nar-nar, maybe not so much. Let's try bits. That's kind of cool. I like that. There's like a little hiss there. What's 8-bit sound like? A little too harsh. Again, not really what I'm going for. It's a little too harsh. It's close. Maybe I'll leave it there and just turn it off, but let's try a saturator. Or actually, you know what? Instead of a saturator, check this out. Landon H, the homie, one of the members on the YouTube channel, gave me this suggestion. Change your filter type to something different that has the overdrive. And this will simulate that kind of saturation overdrive feeling. Let's see if we can get something out of this. Okay, we're getting somewhere. You hear that there's a lot more. I mean, it's definitely just louder. Right, this is forgive your eardrums and mine as well. Oh, I like this one, SMP. I don't know what these simulate, but the SMP one is good. But look, I gave it 11 dBs, right? If we take this back to 0, we're all the way down here. Another note I had though was that the main chords need more volume or texture, right? So they are a little quiet with everything. Let's play it with everything and kind of just push this up. Right, our kick is at 12 over here. So do I want to be going way past that? Not necessarily. What I can do though is add another compressor that is not doing any side chaining or anything like that. I'll put it before the side chain. What I'm going to do is try and hit the tops of, oops, wrong one. I'm gonna try and hit the tops of our peaking notes, just to kind of level it off a little bit, because you can see that some notes go a lot higher than this. If your threshold was really freaking down, nothing will pass a specific point, right? Very quickly, and then it kind of comes back down. But that's not what we want. Maybe we want like this, maybe not the ratio so hard, softer attack, longer release. Right, that's kind of cool. And now what about a little bit of sample rate reduction? I'll turn this rate up. Ooh, jitter's nice. Let's do this at 20,000. Okay, I guess that doesn't exist. Oh! And let's do this actually before the filter. And more importantly, I noticed here that I don't actually have any high pass. I do want my chords to be a little cleaner and not take up too much lows. If we take this out, oops, let's see what we're rocking with. And there's not too much information down here. That's okay. We can throw this on here. We can just hit 76 if we want. Bring it down maybe a little more. Just to be safe, right? You never know. It could help. You could also be damaging things, but oh well. Let's see, maybe some piano sounds scattered during the first break. So this part was here, add either piano playing scatter or texturize the chord sample more. We kind of did that, but here, let me know what you think about this. So this is kind of where we're at, right? Dun, dun, dun. And then it comes into this. And I think something else can happen here. And you know what? That jitter is extremely distracting. We're just going to get rid of the redux altogether. Yeah. So I think something can happen there, right? It sounds a little empty. I'm not exactly sure. I know that this has some automation that comes in. If you open this up, look at this. It's a giant curve. Maybe it can come in a little faster, right? And it's just that whining sound. And I was afraid that this whining sound might be, again, too kind of dog whistly, where you're just like, ow, what is that sound way in the background? We can also play with some textures. I got it, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to do, but I gotta bring the Nord back out. Sorry, Osmos, but you, my friend, are gone. All right, so I think I'm just gonna end up using the same strings that I use on all of them, which is gonna be Dapacem. Somebody tell me how to say that, Dapacem, D-A-P-A-C-E-M. I don't know how to say it. I really wish I knew how. That's gonna be here on this channel. Right, so here, let's play this little section here. I think that this whining sound, which is what I got off of the Osmos, is a little too submarine-y. It's cool, but I think we can find something better. Yeah, let's see what we got. Yeah, I mean, come on, you cannot beat that. It's so beautiful. So let's try that. We'll just add this in, hit record, turn our loop off. It's really loud, I know, 1 sec. Just gotta track it in. We gotta track the whole thing in. We'll set it to about 4 seconds. Oh yeah, that kind of rolls out there real smooth. Okay, cool. That was one good take. Let's try a little lower. You know what? I think I like the one that we had, which was the high notes. Let's just go ahead and go with that. Auto. Okay, cool. That's in there. Again, I'm gonna bring this all the way down till I can't hear it. We're gonna loop this little section here, and I'm just gonna bring it up until it sounds good to me. Try to use my ears a bit more. Okay, come on. That's good. Was that -20? Classic. I always do -20. Oh man. All right, so here we go. Put a little high pass on there, again, just to be safe. You never know, you never know. So that's cool. I'm gonna duplicate this track. We're also gonna take this and I'm gonna go back into in mode and we're gonna open this up and I'm just gonna hit record and try to get some kind of loose piano playing. This is my original idea for this. And should I run it anywhere? I'll do, you know what? Amber upright, and I'll run it through the Zen delay. So right now this is coming in on 3/4. I'm just gonna patch it straight in. I know I did the send return thing last time, but I don't wanna do that again. We'll just go ahead and just go straight in. Okay, so I'm just at a little tap tempo. Okay. Feedback down. That's kind of cool, right? Am I tripping? Let's see. Of course I'm not recording. Come on, we're having the tightest stuff I've ever done in my life. That's kind of cool. I like something like that. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm gonna go here and just hit record. Oh, you know what would be really cool? I have it right here. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna hit record. And we're gonna solo this, turn our feedback up. And I'm just gonna take the delayed signal, not the initial hit. I know I could have just turned the dry up. That's fine. Okay, cool. No more feedback. Check this out. Okay, we're here. I'm gonna take this little section and we're gonna set this to off. Boom. We're gonna look at this clip, unwarp it, drag this all the way past the first hit, and then I'm gonna put this here at the beginning. I wonder what this sounds like. Let's see. It's gonna be a little loud, but. Okay, this is actually kind of cool. And now I wanna try something weirder. I'm gonna hit R to reverse this, put reverb on this, and no pre-delay, bigger decay. Awesome. And I'm gonna say, we're gonna freeze this track. Check this out, this is gonna be fun. We'll freeze this and then we're gonna flatten it. All this is doing is essentially just rendering it in place. We know where it's at. We're gonna hit reverse and we're gonna hit reverse again. Now this clip here is essentially built into this clip because we had it reversed with the reverb in there. And then we baked that reverb in. So now the reverb is reverse. Into the actual thing. And this will give us a nice little crescendo as well. Let's see. That's pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and lower this even more. There we go. Yeah, that's all I needed, right? And then again, looking back at this, which is our octa track, we'll go ahead and select track content, hit Z, A, and look at our auto filter. It's kind of fully open up until this point, and then it drops down after this, maybe a little harsh. We'll soften that up. And before I get too far ahead of myself, maybe some piano sounds, we added that. loop cloud comes in way too hot during the break. All right, so during the break, which is this section here. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about myself. This loop cloud section here. So I use these utilities to kind of, oh yeah, look, this came in right here when it should have probably, what I was trying to maybe do. Let's go here. I use utilities, that way I'm not automating the levels of my mixers, and that allows me to more easily mix the track later. That way the levels aren't constantly moving. I have to keep moving these little tiny dots all across the song. So let's see what this sounds like. And I want this cleanly out. Man, that just kind of comes in a little hot, man. You know what? Maybe this volume is just too loud at this point. Maybe we don't need it there. Maybe once the track kind of comes in, we can do this. So I put a dot here to set it back to 0, where I think it would be good at its mixed level when the kick is in and everything. But during the break, maybe I can even push it here and have it roll in a little softer, not so ramped in there, right? And I'll just put a dot here, pencil tool with B, drop that down. And then I'll put a dot here and a dot here and then really whip this up. And that just gives us this little, and this just gives us this little movement here. Okay, cool, this is super smooth. And then one thing I also heard was this bass line changes here. I wanted to just see, I don't think I wrote this down in my notes. No, I didn't. But let's see. I just want to see what it sounds like. It's kind of smooth, right? Yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like this. Because then we can change this up when the hat gets more energy. Yo, that kind of works. You're feeling the groove. Yo, that's it. Okay, cool. Let me add that to my notes. Okay, loop cloud comes in way too hot. We fix that. Change the bass and do something with your life. And it's already crossed out. Perfect. So the Zen delay is too loud. This one kind of sucks because I was doing, I mean, I could redo it. It doesn't suck, right? What am I talking about? This is so easy to do. Essentially, I took the third wave audio, which was this, ran it through the Zen, played it live, and came up with this. But this is too distracting. It was like, what is he doing? Right, it's cool. It's there, I get the idea, I understand it, I like it, but it's just too loud. And I printed it, so there's no changing it, unless I go and re-record it, which I'm going to do right now. So for now, let's go ahead and undo this. We'll set our dry wet. Oh, and this was set up on a external audio effect. So again, we'll just change this up. We'll go out of 3 and 4. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh, turn it on. Okay, cool. This is way back there. I'm hoping that I do not go a little too overboard with this. Actually, you know what? That's going to be a bad idea. We'll start up here because it's going to whip. There's a, it just jumps. It doesn't latch. So let's see. go a little slower each time, and then again. And then feedback. Oh, that was it. All right, let's fast forward to the next portion here. Oh yeah, this is way softer. I'm so down with this. Let's catch this one. Catch it again, feedback up. Okay, I could mess up here, but let's see. A little faster. Okay, extremely cheesy, but we will, whoa, what did I just do? We will lower that down using utility. So utility, automation, gain, grab this, and probably before we even get there, get that out of the way. Really. Okay, cool. I'm gonna, yeah. Awesome, that's good. And then on top of that, it's really loud, like really, really loud. So if we play this back, this is on track 14 here. Actually sounds pretty good. Another thing I need to do is just grab the sidechain and put it on there as well. Do a little movement. And let's also take the percussion reverb that we got. And I'm gonna put this on there as well. I know I could be using Sense to do a lot of this, but I'm not doing it. Do a little bit more space, let it fill it up. Fill up the cup. Cool, Zen delay is too loud, fixed, gone. And then more drum trips. Okay, so drum trips, these are extremely important to me. And I'll be honest, when you're doing a track and you're making it and you've basically spent hours or whatever it might be getting the track done, I personally need about a day or two to just take a chill pill and then go back and then do all the kick trips and drum stuff and whatnot. And usually what I like to do is at least every 16, if not every 8 bars, do something with the drums that is just kind of fun or interesting or keeps the listener engaged, right? So in this instance, I would kind of go through the whole track and listen to it and see what we can do. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to jump to a little bit of transitions and see. Okay, like here, maybe there could be something so small that nobody will ever notice except us because we did it, right? And we reverse this, but then here we'll hold down Command, Option, and Shift. It'll bring up this little finger. We can slide this over, and this is going to give us kind of like a slip mode for this specific clip that we have highlighted here. And now this is going to sound like this, right? Just so without it, it just goes straight into it. Again, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'll let you know that right now. Don't get your hopes up. But just because nobody cares doesn't mean it doesn't matter. So let's listen to it. Yo, that was so tight. Yeah, what the heck? Something so simple without it. Can't unhear it. Let's go here, let's grab it, and we'll even lower the volume just a tiny bit. Yo. Come on. Come on. Stuff like that. That's the stuff I get out of bed for. Right? Maybe you want to do it again. Maybe this is now a part of the pattern, right? So how would we make this a part of the pattern? Well, I'll show you. We'll go here. We'll zoom this up. Let's say we want it to happen every 16 bars. Is this tiny little sound here. I'll drag this over, hold down Option so it'll copy it. And if I zoom into this section, you can see it happens here. I want to bring this over a little bit. Nothing's supposed to happen there until right here. I'll add a little bit of a crossfade, grab this section, and we'll grab this all the way up to the very beginning. Make sure you don't forget this little piece right here, right? So we have the entire section selected. I'm gonna hit Command J. This is gonna consolidate it, or basically bounce it down into its own new clip. And now we're here. Now I can go ahead and duplicate this across instead of having to, whoa, did I miss it? Oh, Lord have mercy. Blessed be thy name. Here we go, boom. Grab the entire section. There it is. Now Command J, and it'll render it into a new clip. And what's great is I can just say copy, paste, or just hold down Command and hit D, and it'll paste it across. And now we always have this little, right? Super small. You can barely even hear it there, but it's there, and it matters. So boom, 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 boom. Where else do we have this? Nowhere else. Why are you yellow? Let's see. Oh, right, this is the B section. Okay, we can do it here. We'll just do it quickly instead of staying organized. Just hit reverse. And I know I hit this 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was 4. Awesome, there it is. So little things like that I really like. And let's go to the drop. Let's see what the drop sounds like. Okay, cool, watch this. We'll go into the kick. We'll grab this kick here. I'll put it right here. That's fine. And then we'll say, lower it down. Okay, that's cool, but then you can hear that the bass does something over here as well, which is, I'm gonna bring the kick down just so I can kind of see where it's playing with the kick. I'm gonna leave it within the group, but I wanna see what's happening with the kick and the bass at this very specific moment. So there's 2 notes. Let's see what happens if we cut out this single bass note here and let the kick and the bass hit at the same time. That's pretty cool. What about if we did the opposite of that? We said, you know what, ignore this one, we'll go bass kick. Boom, boom. What about together? Let's see what happens. What about neither? Let's try that. That's kind of cool. I kind of like the neither because we can also bring this part out here and just kind of create a little bit of a hum and just kind of a pause. And even bring this back further. Let's see what this sounds like. That's cool. I could get with that. Then that's fine, let that roll. We'll come in here. Same thing. Yo, you heard that. I know you heard that little reverse hat. That was tight. So I'm gonna just go ahead and select this smaller section, hit copy, and we're gonna play with this lowered volume version. So that happens there, nothing happens here, and we'll make something happen. So I'll push this, and we'll push this here, and I'll push this one early. Let's see what this sounds like. That was tight. It's tight, but it's a little messy. There's a couple things here that we need to clean up. So let me get myself a little bit more real estate. Okay, so there's a kick that happens here, this little break. This can get out. You see this here? If we go and look at just our oh my, here we go. If we look at just these little sections here, this is our kick. This has this like, right? Maybe we can get rid of this. That's cool, and maybe even this here, just to really emphasize this pause. That's cool, and then what if we push this a little, what if we push this a little more in and then faded it out, again, to really emphasize this. Cool. And what about the bass, right? The bass and the kick, they're almost one and the same at this point. We want them to really work well off of one another. And let's see what that sounds like. That's kind of cool. So playing this back. You know what's so funny is this is like so intense, right? We're spending all this, well, we spent like a minute on this, but we're spending all this time on this. Nothing changes. It just continues on, continuing on, doing the same loop. But that's okay, because it's these things that keep this 16 bar part where not much changes interesting, or I'd like to think. And I'm trying to figure out, why did my bass disappear right here? Let's see. Okay, so this is because it's going into the breakdown, but I think it needs to stay there. Okay, cool. There's some cool things that happen there. I almost want one more clap. Cut. Or do we let the listener imagine that clap happens and let them be unsatisfied that it didn't happen so they continue listening? I almost want to take it out and then we can get rid of this to just irk them. And what if we just got rid of this here? All right, let's bring that in. That's kind of cool. Look how intense this is. What about without this? I think I've gone too far. Let's see. Too far. Okay, I think I went 2 steps too far. Let's see. Okay, that's the one. I dig that a lot. Oh, and by the way, I do sell synthesizer merch and hats like this, as well as the See You Later Oscillator hat at this link here, in case you're interested or curious where I'm always getting these hats from. Anyway, with that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into some more kick trips. So we've kind of worked our way in about the halfway point. We're at the second drop here. I did do some, right? Like this is a little fake out. Trying to get somebody in there. Again, that little reverse whoop really helps. Then we do this whole section here. And we can go hammy in the paint if we wanted. But I actually really like the way that that sounds there just by itself. But what we can do is grab this little section, copy this, come back all the way here, paste it here and slide this over. Cool, that's fine with me. And I'm actually gonna line this one up a little bit more with this hit here. I know it's not the same, but it will just kind of help glue it a bit. And you know what, instead of doing that, let's just tighten this one up. So I hit Command E to create a new slice point here, and I'm just gonna bring this over. Also, another pro tip, if you're working with grids and it's getting annoying, hold down Command and it lets you just freely move, I guess, on a sample basis. There we go, that's really clean. I mean, it's so subtle, right? You might have missed it there, but it's just super locked on. Dun, dun, dun. I can hear it there, bump, bump, bump. Not sure if you heard it, but I did. So we'll go here, Command D, zoom out to look at this whole section. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Dun, dun, dun. And then here, I'm gonna do a ba-bump, like a really fast one. So it's this, slice that part off, bring this here, and it's just a ba-bump. And again, Command Shift and Option or whatever I was saying earlier. Kind of like almost add some swing and just really push it in there off the grid. Maybe a little too far. Does that work? Yeah, but it's a little loud. That's the thing that's bugging me there. Okay, let's try this. Yep. And then we do another one here. And how about here, we take these kicks out. We'll just say, gone. Okay, what about just this first one instead of those two? That's cool, right? Let some space, boom, the piano enters the room. And look, I kind of went to town here on the back half. Well, you know what I ended up doing was I copy pasted a bunch of these. So that was when I was arranging this. But if we go back and look at all of this as a whole, I want to see what's happening and where and why. So something happens from here into this little section, right? The piano section leaves. Should we celebrate that and celebrate this new kind of groove that we're in? I think so. And we could do this with a really, really wild kick trip, which we'll start here. And I'll move this here, so watch this. This is already gonna sound kind of nuts. Right, but then we can play this even further. All I did was, everything is 4 on the floor, right? This little block. If I chop this here and just move these last 3 over here, you can do this on a sequencer, you can do this on whatever. It just creates this bump, 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 and it puts your kicks on the up half. And you're just waiting to be let down, right? Or story of my life. You're waiting to let the release, basically. It kind of builds up some tension. But you can hear that there's another kick that wants to happen there. Do you know where it's at? Ba-boom, right? Yes, ba-boom. Ba-boom, 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 boom, 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 boom. So boom, check this out. We'll drop this low. Drop it low. So that is good. I like this. I'm going to save it. But I think it could be a little wilder. I like its simplicity. It's pretty elegant to me. But you can do even crazier stuff. Like, for example, if I took this, copy pasted this here, drop the gain down here, and then maybe even did one of these here and drop this one down. Listen to this. Didn't. What's that? Right? I mean, you got to clean this up because there's a lot of pops and stuff in here. We'll grab this little section there. We'll smooth this out. And watch this. I'll even bring this over here, make it really staccato-y, right? We'll bring this over. And then we'll let this live on its own, but smooth that in. Listen to this. Right? That's cool. But then what if we even went further and said this, but then got rid of this? Okay, now we're getting a little too crazy, too wild, but you know, you can do whatever you want. What does this sound like? Sounds like I'm having a heart attack. We'll leave this in there. We'll get rid of this one. Awesome. I think that works. I think that works plenty for me. It's almost too much, but we'll leave it in there. You know what? It's too much. I can't do it. I can't take this. We're going to take these little 2 ones out of here, but we'll leave this. That's cool. And I'm actually going to lower the volume on this one. And then we'll bring it back out to where it was, which is here. And then I'll make sure that this hits right. So. And actually, this kind of sounded cool here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome, and that's kind of it. I mean, you can do some other stuff with the claps, but I'm not a big fan of like the clap trips and stuff. I'm more of a fan of just the kicks because they're kind of holding down the groove, and they kind of do these little shuffly things. They feel good when people kind of break in or dancing to the stuff. You know, it accents the movement of the room well, I find, where claps are just kind of, I don't know, too distracting, I guess. But I think that this is actually a pretty good point in the track. I like the mix. I think the mix sounds good, right? Nothing's too crazy, too overpowering. It kind of sits right. I'll probably have to listen to it in the car again. But as far as mastering goes, that's not something I handle. I'll outsource that or use one of the websites out there for that. If you want to see a video on that, let me know down below and how I kind of prep and go back and forth between stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of dig this. Those are just some of the notes. Let's cross off the last one. Boom. And yeah, or if you want to see how I do this whole note thing with inside of my apps, it's been a fun one to do. I've been doing it for a while now. And yeah, anyway, I appreciate you. Hope you had some fun here. Here it comes, here it comes. Yeah, that works. That totally works. But until next week, my friend, I appreciate you so much. And until then, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge